Welcome to part 2 of the setup analysis, where we look at the Yonex SV98 Lite, and in the racket we've got it strung up with Signum Pro Firestorm 1.30. So I've already done a little review of it where I was pretty impressed with how it performed, and we'll do the follow-up in this video. In part 1 I talked about how the string allows us to use different strategies because of how good the length control was. So for example, I could play a shot that was 5 to 6 feet above the net and still do so without fear of the ball going long for the most part, and that opens up access to different tactics and can allow us to use obviously different shots to try and work our way into the opponent's weaknesses ideally. So that, combined with the ability to hit angles as well, obviously it was a great thing. And the weaknesses we talked about in part 1 were mainly because of the increase in deflection and the decrease in stiffness that results in a little bit more movement from the strings, which usually has a detrimental effect on the height and trajectory control of your shot. Right, let's get into I'm going to start off with the weaknesses in this video. They'll change it up a little bit. And the major weakness I thought while playing this practice set was its vulnerability to sustained pressure. So in terms of a low trajectory and pace, my opponent, as usual, is very skilled. He's very powerful from the back of the court, and on top of that, consistency is incredible. So it wasn't just enough really to hang into the rally. I noticed as the rallies got extended, my shots were dropping shorter and shorter on average, and that was just making it even more difficult to try and neutralize or get ahead in the point. So yeah, that I'm not really sure what it is, whether it is the lack of control over the height or trajectory, or maybe we do need to take it up a little bit more in terms of length control to try and give myself or the user a chance of reversing points easier, because I felt like it was very difficult to neutralize, and even more so, if not impossible, to try and get on the front foot within one shot. I mean, that's ambitious anyway, to do it within one shot, but at least the option to do so would be nice, rather than just defend. And in all honesty, the setup did defend pretty well. It wasn't the errors that was my main concern. It was just the vulnerability under sustained pressure. So 3 or 4 shots I may be able to hang in there, but once those rallies got extended, it did become a problem, and that could be a fitness issue as well. I also thought, especially on this surface, that I wasn't getting enough bounce off of the court, and this was an issue because it's AstroTurf, and the conditions were slightly damp as well, so we're getting a little bit more skid, and the balls were heavier, so I guess they don't bounce as high as I would have liked. That proved to be a problem because I was getting decent enough angles, but the spin wasn't making the ball jump off of the court as much as I've experienced on the harder courts. And I guess my opponent, he's so skilled, he's going to take advantage of that every single time. And yeah, something to bear in mind, I do want spin to be a part of my game, a strategy that I can use, as well as pace and maybe a little bit of guile and finesse. But I want to have that option to try and bounce the ball out of my opponent's strike zone. And so obviously spin needs to be accessible if I'm going to be able to do that. So I'm looking at it might be a swing weight thing. I might have to look at some rackets with an increase in swing weight, or more likely, and when I say that, I don't want an increase in twist weight, because that's not good for spin, but an increase in swing weight or an increase in the stiffness and vibration frequency at the same time could be an option. I'll have a look. An increase in string stiffness would usually increase the power and spin, but this is not an option for me at the moment because I want to maintain the outstanding length control I've got already, and an increase in the string stiffness usually leads to a decrease in the length control. So not an option for now. Onto the strengths, and I'll start off with the serve. In comparison to previous setups, again, the serve was much better. I'd say my percentage was up around that 55% mark. In the past 2 months, we've seen setups around 30%. Pretty dreadful stuff and a pretty dramatic improvement. I put that down to most likely the increase in the length control provided by the string, and maybe the swing speed has increased a little bit more as well. So that increase in swing speed gives us a bit more access to spin. And so especially on my slice serves, whether they be out wide on the juice side or down the tee on the ad side, I'm probably hitting them with a little bit more frequency, hence the increase in the first serve percentage. And on top of that, the second serve percentage is higher as well. It's not really a stat often talked about, but double faults were becoming a problem with previous setups, so it's worth mentioning now. And in fact, I think in the couple sets we played, I only hit 1 double fault, which I don't think is a good thing, because maybe that's telling me I should be going for more on the second serve, maybe going closer to the lines, or trying to increase racket head speed, or a combination of both. I should probably be looking to attack more from the second serve and try and be ahead in the point from the off. But yeah, there's something to look at. But yeah, so the serve was pretty good, maintaining that improvement from previous setups. And I also want to reiterate the length control that the strings provide. I wasn't able to use height over the net or angles as much as I have in previous matches, but the slice was pretty good on this slicker damp surface, and looking back I should have used it a lot more. I just really wanted to hit through the backhand more for some reason. I wanted to see how much I could get out of it, and looking back it wasn't enough. By any means it wasn't enough, but at least I had access to that shot. So if I can, like I said, improve the amount of spin and maybe even sharpen the angle even further, then that could be an option on the lower bouncing slicker surfaces. But for future reference, I should probably use flatter shots or slices more often to keep my opponent neutral, because when I was dropping that ball short, it was usually not a good thing, and yeah, that's not what we want. But yeah, so those were the strengths I wanted to mention. Overall, I really like this setup. I still feel like I can get some more, but we have to move on at Cupenia Tennis. I've already got a racket set up to try and improve on what we've seen in this video. It is the Volcal Organics version 1 oversize. So that racket has a slightly higher swing speed. I'm going to go into detail in my next setup analysis, but yeah, it has a slightly higher swing speed. It is a bit stiffer, so I'm expecting a lot more spin from it. The head size is 110, which is absolutely huge. We'll see what kind of effect that has. Twist weight increase, so more stability. So I'm going to see if that helps dealing with opponents that hit sustained, consistent pace. And yeah, we'll see how that goes. I'm hoping for an improvement in regards to how I deal with those types of players. But yeah, that is going to bring us to the end of this video. I want to thank everyone for watching. I really do appreciate it. And if you found it interesting, it might be worth checking out the other content on this channel and staying tuned for future setup analysis videos that I've got coming out soon. So I'll hopefully see you all there, and until then, everyone, take care.